And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? As it is every day, have we got a terrific show for you today? You know what? One of the things is that we try to change it every day to make it really interesting for you. And today's no change from that. On today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I do every day. On today's show, though, we're going to have a segment with our own Sean LaFave, and Sean and I are going to discuss current events and healthcare. I think though today he's got some special things he wants to talk about, and we're going to certainly indulge him with that. Most of the time, I just sort of pick the subjects, and he just goes with the flow. But first, I want you to stand by for news. And now at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 79 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, let's talk about the 10 things that you need to know for today, Thursday, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and tomorrow. First up, Republicans seek a last-ditch strategy to stop Trump. Sensing a window closing fast, GOP leaders and elder statesmen toggle through a menu of scenarios but land on none. And who sees no path forward in his bid for the White House? Well, Ben Carson says he is effectively ending his presidential campaign that briefly took him to the top of a chaotic GOP field, but ended with a Super Tuesday whimper. And North Korea reportedly fires short-range projectiles into the sea. The development comes just hours after the United Nations slapped sanctions on Pyongyang for its recent nuclear test and long-range rocket launch. Then, deeply split Supreme Court wrestles with an abortion case. As ever, Justice Anthony Kennedy appears to hold the outcome in his hands on a court operating with 8 justices since the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. Well, why Iranian migrants sew their mouths shut. This is how they hope to bring attention to their protest against the mass evictions and destructions of a large swath of a migrant camp in northern France. Can you imagine sewing your mouth shut? Well, what year-long spacemen embrace back on Earth? Astronaut Scott Kelly says when the latch on his Soyuz capsule popped open after touchdown, the blast of cold air was amazing. Russian cosmonaut Mikhail Korenko finds it unforgettable. And by the way, did you know that Scott Kelly's was the same height as his brother? Now he's an inch taller, and that's because of the gravity. Also indicted ex-Chesapeake CEO dies. Natural gas industry titan Aubrey McClendon was killed when police say he drove his sport utility vehicle straight into a wall in Oklahoma City. And debris reportedly from the same type of plane as the MH370. Flight 370, which disappeared 2 years ago with 239 people aboard, is the only known missing 777. Well, man pleads guilty to abducting and killing 2 Virginia college students. In a plea deal, prosecutors drop a capital murder charge that could have resulted in the death penalty, and Jesse Leroy Matthew Jr. agrees to a sentence of 4 consecutive life terms. And then finally, the IOC identifies 43 potential refugee athletes for the Rio Games. No details are given on where the potential team members come from or which sports that they're going to compete in. Well, you know what? Let's get into a little more in-depth stuff on the news. And boy, there is plenty of it. And right off the top, it's Romney and McCain. They say that Trump is a danger for America's future. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and it's getting nasty, folks. Let me just tell you that. In an extraordinary display of Republican chaos, the party's most recent presidential nominees, Mitt Romney and John McCain, lambasted current frontrunner Donald Trump today, calling him unfit for office and a danger for the nation and the GOP. He is not the temperament of a stable, thoughtful leader, Romney declared. He called Trump a phony who is playing the American public for suckers, a man whose imagination must not be married to real power. Hours later, Trump lashed back, calling Romney a choke artist who lost his Barack Obama 4 years ago only because he was such a poor candidate. The vicious feud marked a near unprecedented scenario, pitting the Republican Party's most prominent leaders, past and present, against each other as Democrats began to unite around Hillary Clinton. Underlying the clash is a bleak reality for panicking Republican officials. Beyond harsh words, there is little they see to stop Trump's march toward the presidential nomination. Party leaders are poring over complicated delegate math, outlining hazy scenarios for a contested national convention, and even flirting with the idea of a third-party effort. Wow. You know what? These guys... Well, I don't know if you care or not. If these guys aren't careful, what's going to wind up happening is they're going to wind up destroying the Republican Party. It'll just cease to exist. You just can't do things this way. You can't say as a party, hey, I belong to your party, and then when I vote for somebody, you say, no, you can't have them. Well, how about this? In a field on edge of Greece, refugees' desperation grows. By the hundreds they come, trudging along the sides of highways and across fields, dragging tired toddlers and pushing the elderly and injured in wheelchairs, a seemingly endless stream of humanity heading north for a better life. Only their path has been blocked by border restrictions set up by European leaders, balking at the sheer magnitude of the problem that they face. How to care for and integrate hundreds of thousands of refugees and migrants knocking at their door. The fields on the outskirts of this Greek border town have become the flashpoint in Europe's massive refugee crisis, the size of which the continent has not seen since World War II. More than 1 million people, mostly Syrians fleeing a vicious 5-year civil war, fled to the European Union in 2015. The first 2 months of this year have seen no let-up, despite the winter and its rough seas. Governments across the continent are bracing for even more with improving weather in the spring. This is just a tragedy, and it's a tragedy that just doesn't appear to want to let up, and that's what's going on here. Well, you know what? North Korea is readying nukes. The South Korean Yonhap news agency says North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has ordered his country's nuclear weapons made ready for use at a moment's notice. Kim also said his country will ready its military so it is prepared to carry out preemptive attacks, calling the current situation very precarious. Yonhap cited a statement issued by North Korea's official news agency, KCNA, on Friday. The statement was seen as a reaction to UN sanctions placed on North Korea following a recent nuclear test and long-range rocket launch. Man, you know what? That's getting sticky, it's getting messy, and it is really, really getting dangerous. And if they're talking about doing a preemptive strike, seems to me we shouldn't be sitting around waiting. You know, we have an obligation to protect Japan. We have an obligation to protect South Korea. So, they're both NATO nations. If they get attacked, it's the same thing as if we were attacked. We're heading for real trouble there, folks. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about the military beginning to recruit women for combat jobs. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. You know what? Military is beginning to recruit women for combat jobs. The military services are already beginning to recruit women for combat jobs, including as Navy SEALs, and could see them serving in previously male-only Army and Marine Corps infantry units by this fall, according to new plans endorsed by Defense Secretary Ash Carter and obtained by the Associated Press. Some of the services predict that only small numbers of women will volunteer or get through training courses. Details of the plans show that it's going to be very difficult. The Marine Corps estimates 200 women a year will move into ground combat jobs, and U.S. Special Operations Command said it anticipates a small number of volunteers for its commando jobs. The Navy said it is already collecting submission packages from prospective SEAL candidates and could see women in entry-level enlisted and officer training in September and October. The Navy started collecting the packages last month. All of the services say they have made required changes to base bathrooms and other facilities to accommodate women, and they will monitor training, injury assessments, and possible sexual harassment or assault problems. The plans have been under review by senior Pentagon leaders and have not been made public. Well, we'll see what happens. I understand why women want to do it, but I don't understand why women want to do it. You know, go figure. I can remember the time when we used to hold women on a pedestal and we'd open the doors for them. We'd never let them pay for a meal, for gosh sakes. You know, and now they're almost offended if you buy their meal or if you open their door or you treat them like they're special. Well, how about this? Christian hamlet in Syria bears scars of fierce fighting. Its historic churches pillaged by jihadis and buildings riddled with shrapnel, this ancient Christian town north of Damascus still bears the scars of the fierce fighting that devastated it 2 years ago. Residents vividly recall the shock that they felt when they returned to their town after it was recaptured by the Syrian army from the Nusra Front, Al-Qaeda's branch in Syria, and other militants in 2014. We were horrified by what we saw. Everything was ruined, burned, and plundered, said Rayan Waybi of the once scenic hamlet that was seized by the jihadis in 2013 after the militants stormed the city. They stole all they could and destroyed the rest. International journalists on a trip to Syria, organized by the Russian government on today, visited Maula, some 60 kilometers, that's about 40 miles northeast of Damascus. Although heavily armed Syrian soldiers could be seen patrolling the town, the relative peace in Maula contrasts sharply with other areas on the outskirts of Damascus where intense fighting continues to rage. The capital's eastern suburbs, such as Douma and Harasta, are still held by the rebels, even though government troops made some advances there recently. You know what? That's just a continued mess that is going to continue to happen. I certainly hope that they can maintain peace, but I doubt it, especially when not everyone is required to do it. Well, here's an AP news break. The United States seeks an end to Yellowstone grizzly protections. Wow. Came in 42 minutes ago. The federal government is proposing to lift threatened species protections for hundreds of Yellowstone area grizzlies, opening the door to future hunts for the fearsome bears across parts of 3 states for the first time since the 1970s. The proposal caps a 4-decade government-sponsored effort to rebuild the grizzly population and follows the lifting of protections in recent years for more than a dozen other species, including the gray wolf, brown pelican, and flying squirrel. Hunting within Yellowstone National Park would still be prohibited, but the proposal could allow animals to be taken in surrounding parts of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. By the time the curtain closes on the Obama administration, we are on track to have delisted more species due to recovery than all previous administrations combined, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Director Dan Ash told the Associated Press. We've done that because of several decades of hard work with the grizzly bear. Wow. I don't know if I like that or not. I suppose it's okay if you like bear meat, but if you just want to kill them, I don't think I like that at all. Well, we got an Associated Press interview. A man finds a possible Malaysian plane debris. Came in 2 hours ago. An American adventurer said today that he discovered part of an aircraft on a sandbar off the coast of Mozambique and initially thought it was from a small plane and not from a Malaysia Airlines flight that disappeared 2 years ago with 239 people aboard. It confirmed that the piece of tail section came from flight MH370. A small piece of the puzzle will have been found, but it might not be enough to help solve one of the aviation's greatest mysteries. In an interview with the Associated Press, Blaine Gibson described how a boat operator took him to a sandbar named Paluma and then called him over after seeing a piece of debris with "no step" written on it. It was so light, said Gibson, who was told reporters that he has spent a long time searching for evidence of missing flight MH370. Wow. You know what? Photos of the debris appear to show the fixed leading edge of a right-hand tail section of a Boeing 777, said a U.S. official who spoke on condition of anonymity because he wasn't authorized to speak publicly. Flight MH370 is the only known missing 777. Scary thought, right? Yeah. Well, let me leave you with this. A man charged in his son's death 23 years after shaking him. Christopher Barber served nearly 5 years in a Pennsylvania prison in the 1990s for shaking his fuzzy baby boy and flinging him into a couch so hard that he suffered catastrophic brain damage. Now, Barber is behind bars again, charged with homicide following his son's death at age 23 after he lingered in a vegetative state the rest of his life, hooked on a breathing machine and fed through a tube. Barber, 46, was arraigned Wednesday and jailed without bail. Prosecutors had him arrested after a pathologist ruled Christopher Kostenbader's death last May a homicide, saying he succumbed to complications due to a severe head injury that occurred in 1991 at the hands of the defendant. Well, that's bad enough news. Let's leave it with that. Let's get into something a little more pleasant. Let's talk about the IRS loses, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. The first case up is transfers of property were not done to evade tax. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Got some good cases for you today, so let's get right to them. First off, transfers of property were not to evade tax. Here's the case. David Jones owed back taxes to the IRS when he transferred a home that he owned to his mother and a warehouse that he owned to a corporation that he also owned. Sounds a little confusing, right? Well, 6 years later, he declared bankruptcy and sought to have his still unpaid taxes discharged. The IRS said that the transfers were an attempt to evade tax collection, making his taxes non-dischargeable. He went to court for some justice. This is what the judge said. Jones explained that he had purchased the house for his mother to live in and that she had in fact made all the payments on it. Similarly, he had purchased the warehouse for his business's use and it always had been operated by the business. So the transfers did not have a tax avoidance purpose and his taxes are discharged. I wish I could tell you more about it, but that's it, and it makes sense, right? Well, how about this? The IRS loses. A theft loss is deductible when reasonably certain. Sounds a little vague, but listen to this. A couple was victimized by a jewelry scam that cost them several $1 million. Complicated lawsuits and insurance claims resulted, lasting several years. They claimed a theft loss deduction, but the IRS disallowed it, saying that the couple was entitled to no deduction until the year in which all of their claims for reimbursement were resolved and their last recovery efforts had concluded. They protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS is wrong. A theft loss is deductible when reasonably certain, so the couple could take the deduction in portions over multiple years as the probable outcome of their various reimbursement claims became apparent. Just makes sense. That's kind of just common sense, right? Of course, no one ever accused the IRS of having common sense. Here's another case the IRS lost. Driving to jobs away from home is deductible. Here's the case. David Lease was a union millwright in Cumberland, Maryland. He took daily job assignments from his union at distant locations, averaged 100 miles a day driving to them, and deducted his driving cost. Here's the IRS's objection. Only driving to temporary jobs away from home is deductible, and one's tax home is one's primary work location. Since Lease didn't work in Cumberland, it wasn't his tax home, so he couldn't deduct driving from it to distant jobs. So he went to court for a little bit of fairness, and this is what the judge said. Lease had long worked in Cumberland until jobs there grew scarce, and that made his tax home. Each of the distant jobs that he traveled to was temporary, so his driving to them was absolutely deductible. You know what? That just makes sense. The IRS is always trying to get the edge, and they've got power, boy. I'll tell you, they've got power. How about this? You've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS. This really does sound a little bit like the Twilight Zone. Well, we've got two cases here for you. I want you're going to enjoy these. The first one is about an IRS audit trap. Suppose that in the course of an audit, an agent asks you a question and you do not understand why it's being asked. What do? You ask the agent why he or she wants to know. Don't answer any such question until you receive an understandable and acceptable answer from the agent. Now, here's an example of what we're talking about. Let's just say the agent asks where you went on vacation last year. Why would he want to know such a thing? Well, he's probably trying to ascertain your standard of living and how the amount of income that you reported on your tax return jives with your confessed lifestyle. Be careful about offering an answer that may be incriminating for you, and consult with a lawyer before you even answer these kinds of things. Matter of fact, you're a lot better off to refuse to talk to them in these cases and get professional help. That's the way you should handle it. Here's one more for you. Negotiating an installment agreement. And there is a lot of them doing. You can even do it online nowadays. Now, it's not uncommon for certain taxpayers earning six-figure salaries to owe the IRS more money than it'll ever be able to repay. But, there's some common causes to this. Personal liability for unpaid payroll taxes of a business, years of not filing income tax returns, not paying the tax reflected on tax returns that were filed. When taxpayers enter negotiations to pay their tax debt in installments, the IRS will generally allow them living expenses in excess of official guidelines, which are very modest, by the way, for a period of only 1 year, though. Taxpayers should use this year to cut back on all but the most essential expenses. They should cut out lavish expenditures for such things as vacations and clothing and country club dues, and concentrate on making sure that college tuition and mortgage payments are made, matter of fact, even maybe prepaid. The reason for that is, after the 1 year period expires, the IRS is going to expect that most of what a taxpayer earns after the current year's income taxes have been paid goes to the IRS. So be careful. And you know what? That's another one of those cases where you want to talk to a licensed professional before you do anything. They generally are going to be able to negotiate a little bit better income issue for you to keep than what the IRS is going to allow you on their own. Now, do not go away, because waiting in the wings is our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. I'm not real sure what we're going to talk about, but I can guarantee you this: you're going to have a really interesting next 60 minutes. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave right after these brief messages. messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, and at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 79 degrees, on its way to 49 degrees. Looks like we're going to get a little bit of a cooling spell the next few days. But if you're listening to us on our global syndicated network and you're in New York City, it's 34 degrees and mostly cloudy. In Chicago, Illinois, it's 33 degrees and overcast. But I'll tell you where it's not overcast. It's not overcast in the corner of my good buddy Sean LaFave. This man's got a bright light that shines right through his eyes. Hey, Sean, how you doing today?
Good, Robert, man. You know, if I ever, have a day I'm just not feeling good about myself, all I need to do is get on my show with you, and the world just seems right now. I'm good. I'm great, man. How you doing?
Well, I'm terrific too, man. I feel the same way. When I know that you're waiting in the wings, I just know that the next 60 minutes is going to be fantastic.
It always is.
The only thing that bothers me, just kind of scares me a little bit, is I keep thinking that one of these days you're going to pass out, because you don't take any breaths.
I'm pretty practiced at it. I can hold my breath for a long time. So,
so listen, what do we got on the agenda for today? Oh, by the way, before we get on, because I know you have something special you want to talk about, but before we do that, Any comments on what the GOP is doing to Donald Trump and what Mitt Romney and McCain and all these guys are pulling against the GOP?
I am really just a little flabbergasted, and I don't know if it's just a matter of, Donald Trump is really bringing to light how far off track the GOP has gotten, and so they're going to, personally attack him just to hopefully make themselves look better, and that's what it looks like. They're just making the GOP. They're making the Republicans look horrible right now.
Yeah.
What they're doing.
Yeah, I'm miffed. I'm really miffed. I got to tell you, you see a majority of people voting in the Republican primaries and the caucuses, and they're voting for Donald Trump. And the party is going to say, okay, you members of our party, we don't care what you want and who you want. You're going to get who we want. Yep. You know what? This could be the beginning of the end for the Republican Party if they pull those kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, and that's exactly my thought too. Is they're saying, hey, we like what we've got, what we're doing. We don't want to change. It's like, no, you're here for the people. You're supposed to do what we want. You work for us. We're not under your authority. You're under ours. And the people have spoken, and they have come out in droves. If you look at the election on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Compared to 8 years ago, it's almost completely opposite of the turnout in Republicans versus Democrats.
Yeah,
Democrats have showed up, and far more Republicans have shown up, we want Trump.
Yes, and it's all of that is being credited to Trump. I mean, these guys, it's sort of like a racehorse. They put the blinders on them so they can't see the horses next to them. They don't know what's going on, right? And they can't see the crowds. This is what's going on with the Republican Party. These guys have got blinders on, their heads in the sand. It's the good old boy network, the long-time establishment who the people are sick of. They're sick and tired of this stuff. They want a government that works.
Yeah, and I'm hearing terms about Trump that I've never even heard before. Like they're just trying to figure out ways to describe him to make him look like a horrible person. I'm not saying he's no Mother Teresa. Don't get me wrong here. The guy is definitely crass and he can be abrasive, but at least the one thing that people love about him is that he's just coming out and he's saying what's on his mind, and he doesn't give you an ambiguous answer. He's very direct. But like I heard that someone describe him as a casual racist or something like it. And I'm like, I've never even heard that. You guys are making up stuff now. Come on, really? What does that even mean, a casual racist? Is that a guy sitting around in shorts and loafers? What? I don't even know what that means.
These guys,
a casual racist.
Doesn't it just incense you? It just absolutely just ruffles my feathers. Something horrible. Here's the thing: you look at Donald Trump or Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or any of the guys, Zuckerberg, any of these guys. Do you really think that any of the people, the peers around them, think they were nice guys, that they were just fluffy little guys and just angels? That's how they got to the top?
No, of course not. And that's another part too, is what we're seeing people from outside of Donald Trump's sphere of influence attacking him. Now, all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, this guy's for real. Like, he actually is very likely going to be at least that he will at least be the Republican nominee, but he may very well be the next president. All of a sudden everyone's losing their mind. They don't know what to think about it. But what we're not seeing is people from inside of the Trump empire, if you will,
yes.
People who have worked for him, people who know him, they're not coming out and saying, this guy's a jerk.
You're right.
They're all supporting him.
And you know what else? And you know what? I mean, you hit the nail on the head. There was something that, you just brought to my mind that I hadn't even thought about before. And that is, we hear all of these politicians bad-mouthing him. We hear the good old boy network bad-mouthing him. But you know who we're not hearing bad-mouth him? Successful executives, people that have built successful businesses, people that need the economy to get better. Not one of them is coming up against Trump.
No, they're not. And one of the men that I respect the most in this country, Steve Forbes, mm-hmm. He came out and he did a radio show and I got to listen to a little bit of it, and he talked very positively about Trump. He was not very positive about Rubio or even Cruz, but he spoke. He didn't come right out and say like the title of the headline of the the post that I saw said, that he endorsed Trump. He didn't actually come out and say, I endorse Trump, but he spoke very positively about Donald Trump. And this is a guy who, as you said, he's very, very successful. He got Forbes magazine. The guy's wealthy. He's a successful person who's followed in his father's footsteps and done great things with it. And he likes Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And this is a guy. I remember when Steve Forbes ran for president. Gosh, well, I don't even know how long ago that was.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. I actually got the opportunity to interview Steve Forbes on TV when I was doing television shows back a couple of years ago. What a dynamic man he is, and what a down to earth man he is.
I was going to say the exact same. Did you have a staring contest with him, by the way?
No. I do my best not to try to stare down anybody.
I tell you what, you remember that was the big thing when he was running, is they say the guy never blinks. If you watch him talk, he doesn't blink. He blinks like once every like 5 minutes or something. It's really weird to watch. When he talks, he never blinks. It's really strange. But same thing. I was in college when he was running for president, and one of my professors, a guy named Paul Ballantyne, who just was a mentor of mine, just a great, wonderful person, he said, "Hey, Sean," he goes, "I'm going up to Denver to go meet with Steve Forbes. Do you want to go with me?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, of course I want to go with you." And I got to sit down in a room of about 10 people and just sit and talk to Steve Forbes and ask him questions. And just like you said, he is one of the most genuine, even-keeled, down-to-earth people you could ever possibly meet. You would never know by sitting and talking with him, how incredibly wealthy and how incredibly powerful he is as a person, because he comes across as so down to earth and so genuine. Yeah.
I'll tell you another guy that way. Years ago, I may have mentioned this to you before. It was me and a really, really, really good friend of mine, one of my best friends, and another friend. We'd every year we'd go to Las Vegas, just the three of us. It'd be the boys' weekend, right? The truth was, I would go, and it was to go to the Comdex show. And at that time, the Comdex show was the largest computer and peripheral show in the world, and it was held in Las Vegas every year. And so we would go there and to the Comdex show. And years ago, it was when Microsoft was really just kind of getting started. And I can remember walking into this big arena, and you walk in, and right there as you walked in on the right-hand side was this little, I want to say maybe 15 by 15 booth, and there was this guy in a sweater with his horn-rimmed glasses sitting on a bar stool, and it was Bill Gates. And you could go in there and talk to Bill Gates, just a regular guy, and even today, the richest man in the world, when you talk to him, he's just a regular guy, and he's another one of those guys that has not badmouthed Donald Trump.
Right, yeah, they aren't. The successful people in this country, other than politicians, they're not bad-mouthing him. They're either not coming out and saying anything at all, or they're coming out and saying positive things about him.
Yeah, and, you know what? Do you think sometimes maybe they're caught between a rock and a hard place? One of the things Donald Trump said that I happen to know is a fact, and it's not just a fact for him; it's a fact for the Steve Forbes and the Zuckerbergs and the Gates and even Steve Jobs when he was alive. You had to grease the skids, which meant that you were supporting all sides of government, whether they were Republican or independent or Tea Party people or liberals, purple people eaters. You didn't care what they are. You greased them all because you needed all of their support, right? And that's how you got things done. And I'm wondering if we're not hearing this silence from these chieftains of our industrial. I shouldn't have said industrial. From our capital world, because they don't want to ruffle those political the feathers. They don't know what's going to happen, but they're not going to talk bad about Donald Trump.
And I would agree with that logic. If I was in a position of private power like that, like a lot of these people, I certainly would not be bad mouthing Donald Trump right now.
No,
because he very well could be the next president of the United States, and you definitely don't want to make an enemy out of him, before he gets sworn into office.
And I'll tell you something else. the guy, I don't care what you think of him, he is successful. And these guys that have built their companies and built profits and have made fortunes for their stockholders and done all these things, they all have something in common. They all put it on the line. They have bottom line responsibility, and they respect Donald Trump for what he built. And you can lie about all the things you want, and you can say he's this and he's that. Truth is I think a lot of people that are critical of Donald Trump is from envy. It's from envy and jealousy. It's not because of anything Donald Trump did. Now, we have to go on a break. I interrupted you and continued so that you had to take a breath. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave, and we're going to talk about absolutely anything you want to talk about, Sean. We'll be right back to these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:49 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're listening to us on our global network in Paris, France, it's 41 degrees and mostly cloudy. In Rome, Italy, 43 and partly cloudy. I don't know. What the heck is it in Newport Beach, California?
It is. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's sunny. Mostly, we've got some clouds out. And,
it is beautiful.
It's probably in about 70 degrees right now.
It's always beautiful in Southern California.
Yeah, it's always awesome here.
All right, so what are we going to talk about today, Sean?
I don't know. It's so funny. I actually had some things lined up, but then I had to run out. I'm actually doing a call from somewhere else. I don't have my computer or anything in front of me, which is fine. But
let's talk.
You know what I want to talk about is go ahead. I want to talk about the Grammys. The
Grammys or the Oscars.
Oh, the Oscars. I'm sorry, the Oscars, not the Grammys. I'm sorry, the Oscars. That's what I meant. Grammys, Grampy, whatever.
The
Oscars. I'm so flustered by the whole thing that I can't even remember the name of it.
Yeah, we are going to have a heated conversation. I can tell that already, depending on what side you take. Here's the thing. I never know. I used to think that I knew what your position was going to be, but after Tuesday, I'm not sure anymore. I hate it when you agree with me.
Well, I'm trying to find something to disagree with, but you're just such an agreeable person that you're making it tough on me.
That's the diplomat in me. You know what the definition of a diplomat is, don't you, Sean?
What?
Yeah, a diplomat is a person who can tell you to go to hell in such a way you look forward to the trip.
Look forward to it, exactly.
All right, so let's talk about the Oscars. You know what? I'm going to let you start this off, and then I'll jump in when I think it's appropriate.
Well, it started out with, of course,
Chris Rock.
With Chris Rock. Well, they started out, but even before Chris Rock even got on, before the show even started, like days, would be weeks before when all of a sudden all these black artists were going to boycott the show because there were, for the second year in a row, there were no black actors nominated for an Oscar. Which, I get that, but what they're making a big scene out of something that's really not an issue. Is there anything, first of all, more accepting of people of all races than the only thing people from Hollywood don't like is white Republican conservatives. You know what I'm saying? Like for them to call foul over something that is a statistical, hiccup, I guess, and no other way to put it. Because if you go look back over the last 20 years or whatever it is, the data was put together. The percentage of population of whites versus blacks and the percentage of whites versus blacks that get Oscars, actually black people have historically gotten just slightly more percentage-wise of Oscars than white actors have. And what's really funny is there weren't even any Asians. I don't know. How come Asians aren't losing their minds over this? Because they don't care. This is my thing is, if you're an actor, I don't care what color you are, you made millions and millions of dollars on a movie, and you're going to cry because you didn't get a little statue.
Now you have gotten to the spot where I want to jump in. Because when you talk about movies, when you talk about its entertainment, you're talking about a business. And the heads of all these businesses have the same responsibilities that any head of any business has, and that's bottom line profits. They make movies to make money. And then the Oscars are nothing more than a political vehicle that helps them make money. It's not because of someone automatically deserves it or somebody has never won one. It's a vehicle to make money with. Now, I will grant you this. In a lot of cases, the guy who wins really deserved to win. He did an exceptional job. But you know what? When Chris Rock was talking about not enough black actors, not enough black parts, not enough black, you know what? Those are bottom line money decisions made by the heads of companies because they need to make a profit. And they hire people who actually put people into the different roles based on the screenplay that they're actually reproducing. It's all about making bottom line money. But if somebody's going to tell you they're not doing good, you know what? Chris Rock was there. He's a very successful, very talented comedian. He was put on there to host the Academy Awards. business, and he wasn't doing it for free. He was making money on it. He was making it his own personal commercial so he could continue to make more money. And when you talk about black people, you know what? Tell me that they don't know how to do it. How about Sammy Davis Jr., Nat King Cole? How about Harry Belafonte? How about Sidney Poitier? How about Whoopi Goldberg? I could go on and on and on and on and on. The people that pulled themselves up from the bootstraps and made millions of dollars and made millions of people happy with the entertainment they provided. It wasn't to get an Oscar. It wasn't to get a Grammy. It wasn't to get a Chloe or whatever the hell those things are. It was so they could be successful. You know what? And the rest of it is all politics.
Exactly. And I think Chris Rock, and I'm sure that, the vast majority of what he said was probably scripted, at least at some level. Mm-hmm. He probably has some sort of, creative license that he can veer left and right a little bit, but he's probably got to stay the course for the most part. I personally think that he did more damage with his little antics, talking about, well, we used to not complain about it because we had bigger things to worry about, when grandma's swinging from a rope on the tree, it's like he did not need to say garbage like that. No. That was just filth. It was garbage. I lost all respect for Chris Rock. I hope I never see his face again. I will never watch any part of the Grammys again. And even Leonardo DiCaprio, it's like he finally won an award. Yeah. Oh, he just get up and show gratitude. Don't make it a political issue. Yeah. I get it. Global warming, I get it. It's been shoved down our throats so much, and I get it. Stop. Just it'd be like John Wayne when he finally won his. I saw when John Wayne got an award from the.
Hold that thought, because I actually met John Wayne the day he got his Oscar or Academy Award for True Grit. And I'm going to tell you that story right after these brief messages. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief words.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000. 5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Myself and Sean Lefebvre are talking about the Academy Awards, so I thought I'd put in that movie music coming in. When we went on our break, Sean, you were starting to talk about John Wayne, and I interrupted you because I thought it was a perfect segue to something I wanted to talk about, because you had brought that up about when he had won his Academy Award. I was having lunch at a place not too far from where you live. I was eating at Gulliver's right across from the Orange County Airport, having lunch, and I was there with a good friend of mine, and we're sitting there having lunch, and in walks this entourage, this guy, and he sits down, and all these people are sitting down at this table. I mean, and I'm no farther away from him. I'm going to say maybe 6 feet from John Wayne, and I'm looking at him, and
Wow.
I'm talking to this buddy of mine that I'm lunch with, and I'm saying, God, isn't that John Wayne? And he looks over at me right into my eye and says, "Sure am, son." And I thought I was gonna melt, and I thought, oh man, what an absolute honor! I'm so thrilled to meet him. He says, "Hey, you want to come on over and have lunch?" And I says, "Oh no, sir, I couldn't do that. You've got a meeting going." I says, "Hell, I don't know anybody that's sitting at this table. They're all freeloaders looking for a free lunch." And that was the night that he got his Academy Award for True Grit.
So this is just before he went on to the Academy Awards.
Yeah,
and
we were having lunch that day, and me and my buddy, and John Wayne walked in to have lunch with this group of people. Must have been 8 people with him, and that was the night that he was going on to win his Academy Award.
Wow! I mean, just to be able to have a small conversation with him, how awesome that would be. I mean, John Wayne was such a class act, and of course that's the point I was making was, when he finally won that award for True Grit, he just got up and he talked about like how he'd been on that stage before to get awards for other people, and but never for himself, and you could tell he was just massively humbled by it. He didn't use it to promote anything other than gratitude for other people and the people that got him there, and to just really convey how humbled he was by it. And it was just great to see, something like that. And I think that a lot of that is gone nowadays. Like, these actors, they want to use, like, remember when Sinead O'Connor, I can't remember what it was, that she won an award and she went off on some rant, and it was basically, might as well have been global warming or something along those lines. And everyone lost their minds. They were like, how dare her use the stage for her political agenda? Well, now in fact, I was talking to a guy, he said, I can't remember who the first award was. There was an award for, it was a reanimation of a person using CGI. They took an actual real person from a different movie, took the video of that person from another movie and reanimated it into the next movie, whatever. They basically reanimated this person to make it look like the person was actually live in the movie. Mm-hmm. And the guy won an award for that, and he went off on, and the person I was talking to, he went off on a political rant. And he goes, I was 120 seconds into the show, and we're listening to this, and I think that it's just destroying. Like, who wants to sit and listen to your political rants? I don't. Well, I'll tell you, even if I agree with you, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, not me, because I don't watch any of those award shows anymore. I happened to see, a news clip of that. That's why I was able to comment the way I did at the beginning of our conversation today. But the truth is, I'm tired. I'm sick of that kind of stuff. I have my own opinions. I don't need, just because you happen to have some limelight, there happens to be a camera on you, you're getting some kind of an award. You know what? You need to do just what you said. Be like John Wayne and be humble and be thankful that your peers awarded you this for your stature and your accomplishments. Don't go giving me a lecture about your beliefs about anything, because I have my own, and that's not the place, the time, for any of that kind of stuff. For that reason, Sean, I don't watch any award shows.
I don't either anymore. Yep, and I didn't watch the Oscars, but I saw some clips from it because I was curious, especially about Leonardo DiCaprio, and and he was doing great. He was on track, and you could tell he was very scripted. He either expected it or was really hoping for it and knew what he was going to say. And then he went off on global warming, and he's like, yes, this movie was about a man and his relationship with the environment, and he just couldn't stop himself, from going political. And it's like, man, it's.
What he should have done. I actually saw the movie, and the movie was phenomenal. I mean, it was unbelievable that Leonardo DiCaprio could actually play that part. I don't know if you saw the movie or not.
I want to, but I haven't seen it. No. I
got to tell you, unbelievable. The guy did an uncanny job, and that was one of those movies where one guy carried the whole doggone movie, and that was him. It was just amazing. And what he should have done was talk about the support, the technicals of support, and all the rest of the stuff. And there were supporting actors also. There was a lot of stuff going on. That's what he should have talked about. It's the same.
That's exactly what he should have. Yep.
And it's the same thing with all the rest of these actors. I can't think of the name of the guy. Who is the star in The Godfather? Who was the original Godfather? I can't think of it.
I love him. I can't think of his name either. All of a sudden, he was in the
Streetcar Named Desire. He was. I can't think of it. Anyway, regardless.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
Yeah. There's another one when he was getting his Academy Award, refused to show up. He was, and made a big issue of it and sent some gal up in an Indian outfit, and they use this thing for protests and demonstrations. You know what? Yeah. And all that does is demean the industry. It demeans their peers. It demeans their friends who voted to give them these accolades and awards. I think that is just a conscious way of showing your lack of class, taste, and polish.
Yep, I totally concur with you. Yep, yeah, I think it did. The whole, especially the race part of it. The black people wanting to boycott because they didn't get their precious little statue this year. But you've gotten more than your fair share. And I hate to sound like a jerk about it, but they have. Yeah. Percentage-wise, they've gotten more than white people have. Like get over it. You're not going to be the center of attention every single year. That's not the way it works.
Let me go into a little bit of a tangent because you know what? I'm also against. I lost the term. What do you call it when they make room for undeserving people? I shouldn't say undeserving people. Doggone it! Why can't I think of the name of it?
Are you talking about affirmative action?
Yes. I'm totally opposed to affirmative action.
It's horrible.
And here's the reason. You know what? We are actually going to let people who qualify less get into a position where somebody who is more qualified isn't going to go, that could help humanity, more help society, more help the world, so that we can get the numbers right. That doesn't make any sense at all. You know what? If you pull yourself up by the bootstraps, you work hard, you get good grades, you're going to get the things you want to get. You don't have to have special rules. I think it's wrong that we graduate kids that don't know how to read or write or do math. I think it's wrong that we put kids in college because they happen to have been born in the right family and have a large amount of money. I think it's wrong that we would actually put somebody into a position in an upper end college simply because he's black or red or brown or yellow or whatever or purple. I don't care. I think that they need to stand on their own on a level playing field with everybody. I don't believe that because you are of a different race that you don't have the mentality to compete evenly with everybody.
Right. Yeah, I think that's. I hate to agree with you again, but
no, Sean, you're making this a habit.
I'm making it so hard for you. There was this was several years ago. This was probably 15 years ago or something like that. Washington University out in St. Louis, Missouri, offered a scholarship. It was one of many, I'm sure, but they offered a scholarship specific for African Americans, and so this young man applies and gets accepted, and he wins this scholarship to go to Washington University. He shows up, and he's as white as as I am, if not more,
Mm-hmm.
And they said, whoa, this year, you can't have this scholarship. This is for African Americans. And he said, yes, I'm from South Africa. And they said, well, that's not what we mean. It's, and he says, but it doesn't say black people. It doesn't say skin color. It specifically says African American. He goes, I am an African American.
Yeah, born in Africa, raised in Africa, and I'm now in America.
Yep. And they wanted to take it away from him, and he sued them and won because it specifically said, yeah, and I think it's great. It's like, you know what, make up your mind. What do you want? And I think it's horrible that there was a time, yes, when we needed, some great people like Martin Luther King Jr. And by the way, Marlon Brando is the one we were trying to think of earlier.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah. You can thank Sally for that one.
Yeah.
And
thank you, Sally.
but Martin Luther King Jr., we needed people like that, and I think that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and there's going to be racial division, and there's going to be horrible people doing horrible things.
Here's the great. But here's the great thing about Martin Luther King. It wasn't affirmative action that got millions of black people to follow him. He was a leader. He got to that position. I'm not a big follower of Ben Carson. Ben Carson, I don't think would have been a good president. I would never have voted for him. But he's a black man, and he's the #1 infant neurosurgeon in the world. So now. Yeah. There's a guy that deserved to graduate. I don't know where he graduated from, Johns Hopkins or wherever it might be. You know what? All you need to do is want to do it and be able to compete. Yeah. The guy is very intelligent. I like Ben Carson. My biggest beef with Ben Carson is his stance on, vaccines. He thinks it should be mandatory for everybody across the board except for medical purposes. Well, I've got a problem with his historical accuracy too, and grain in the pyramids and that kind of stuff.
Not everything about him. I like him. I'd take him over Clinton in a heartbeat. Yeah. But yeah, it's you're right. We've gotten to a point where you've got Ben Carson's, you've got Whoopi Goldberg's, and you've got all of a sudden I can't even think of her name. The talk show. She's like the richest gal in the country.
Oh, Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey. Geez, I couldn't think of her name. Oprah. What is it with us and names today?
Sally is out there. Sally's out there to help us if we get really stumbled here.
She's still texting me. She's like, "What about this person?" But you take someone like Oprah Winfrey, she removed everyone's excuses. She was raised in an abusive home. She got pregnant very young and ended up with an abortion, and on and on. She had the deck stacked so hard against her that she should probably be dead right now, not one of the wealthiest people in the country.
And by the way, she got an Academy Award for The Color Purple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so we've reached a point where people, you need to stop using race as your little crybaby tool every time you don't get your way, because that's not what it's about anymore. No. And there are people there, and unfortunately, we had slavery, but slavery wasn't a white versus black thing. There's, in the Middle East, the Middle Eastern Muslims have probably taken more black slaves from Africa than the white people did to the Americas. The Africans enslaved their own people. Look what Genghis Khan did in Asia. He was a brown guy. There's there was. Take India. You have the Muslims and the Hindus, and when England was there, the horrible, evil white person was there in charge, ruling over them. Once they left, all of a sudden, the brown people went to war with each other. And I would be a jerk as a white man for saying that in the wrong setting, but it's a fact that nobody wants to realize that this is not, just because somebody does something horrible to another person doesn't mean that it was done because of race. Does it happen because of race? Sure, of course it happens. It happens in all directions.
Well, I'll give you another thought that I don't think is going to be popular, and I know I'm going to regret having said it. And that is I'm totally against slavery. I'm totally against prejudice. I'm totally against racism. But I'm also against giving these young black African Americans a free ride simply because their great grandfather was a slave.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, we should be done with that. Yeah. As a matter of fact, they say, we should. There are people who still think that we should pay. I'm like, do you know how many hundreds of thousands of men died We killed a bunch of them from the south, and a bunch of them from the north also died trying to free you.
Yeah.
And like, how many people need to die? Like 600,000 people died so that black people could be free in this country.
Yeah.
Like, how much more of a price do we need to pay than that? I don't know why no one stops and goes, you know what? Over 500,000 people were killed just so black slavery could be abolished in this country.
Yeah.
I don't know, do we need to kill another 500,000? Would it be okay if we line up maybe another 500,000 white people and then kill them off? Then would you be happy? Like, that's what I don't get is, when do we have to stop paying the price? We paid the price because this country went to war and brothers killed each other, and a bunch of men died to free slaves, and apparently that's over 500,000 people dying is not a big enough price to pay.
Yeah. And
so I really don't know. That's the part that I don't get is when is it enough? What do we need to do? Because you don't have an excuse. Like we said, Oprah Winfrey, she came from some of the most horrible, the living conditions you could ever possibly be in. She was abused. She was poor. She had nothing. On and on and on. And look at her. She's the most successful woman in this country.
And revered, and she's revered, and she's a, she is someone that black people should strive to attain that level of, show that example, and that's what she's doing. She is showing, I think, an almost perfect example for African Americans around the world.
Absolutely.
She is not stingy with her wealth. She's tremendous with charities. I have to give you this: mostly black charities, but I don't have a problem with that. You know what?
I don't have a problem with that either.
Everybody gives to their own kind, their own what's going on, and I don't have an issue with that. But then that's not all she gives to. She gives to other charities as well. So I don't want to give the impression that that's all she does. This woman is very, very successful, and there are you get the impression that black people are oppressed in the United States and only in the United States, and that's certainly not the case. But the truth is they're not really oppressed. Every one of them has the ability to get ahead, and this country offers them something that no other country does offer them. That offers them the ability to open up their own business and be successful. Look at Herman Cain with Godfather's Pizza. The man is a multimillionaire, for Pete's sake, for cooking pizza.
Yep.
So there's no limitation. What about
another man that I immensely respect is Herman Cain. Yeah, absolutely, love the guy.
So it's just there's
by the way, he's also another person who's coming out and saying amazing things about Donald Trump. Is Herman Cain. Herman Cain loves Donald Trump.
Yeah, there's example after example after example, and I don't want to make this a black white issue show, but the truth is that it just irritates me that these people are so oppressed, when really what it is they're the ones that are complaining are not the ones that have worked hard. And I'll give you the example. How about Barack Hussein Obama, who actually qualified to go to Harvard, and so did his wife Michelle. They went to Harvard, got an education, had student loans, and the man became president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, regardless of what you think about the job he's done and whether you agree with his politics or not. There is a black man that climbed to the top. That just shows that you can do it. You just have to want to.
Absolutely.
And with that, my friend,
guess what? Break.
Yeah, we are. So give a teaser. What are we going to talk about when we come back? We're going to continue this line of conversation.
I have no idea. That's the teaser. The teaser is a big surprise.
All right. That's a good idea. We got don't go away. We got a big surprise for you when we come back from this commercial break. We'll be with Sean LaFave in the Geared for Corner, of the Wellness Corner, and his counselor, Susie.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:22 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 72 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, if you're in Lisbon, Portugal, it's 50 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Hong Kong, 81 degrees and it's foggy. But you know where it's not foggy? In the brain of my good buddy Sean LaFave. Hey, Sean, I blistered your girlfriend's name. Is it Susan? Is it Sally? God, I never even got to Sally. Sally, listen, I am so sorry. I'll make it up for you. I will cook you a dinner the next time you come to town.
All right, I guarantee you she didn't take you up on that offer.
All right.
And I am too.
No. I didn't invite you.
I was going to say, I didn't even actually get an invitation to this one.
Of course.
I'll make sure she has leftovers and brings them to me. So.
Of course you're invited. Okay, so where are we going from here? You know, I think we've... Go ahead.
I was, there's just a lot of little things that I wish I had my computer with me, and I didn't bring it. I had to run out and go run an errand, and I'm too far away from my office and home, so I'm kind of winging it right now. But there was a settlement. There's things out there that you think are just like totally harmless in the world, and like baby powder. And that shower to shower by Johnson & Johnson shower powder that you put on to keep yourself fresh and clean, smelling, clean smelling and all that. Well, it's made with talc, and talc is really not good for you.
Is that where the name talcum powder comes from?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And there was a family that just was awarded a settlement, and I believe it was $72 million settlement from Johnson & Johnson because they have known about the harmful effects of their talcum powder in their products, the baby powder and the shower products, which this woman used for like 30 years, thinking it was totally harmless and good for her, and she ended up getting I believe it was ovarian cancer. It was either a cervical cancer or ovarian. I think it was ovarian cancer, and she died from it. And they say it was a direct result of her daily use of these two powders. And Johnson & Johnson has, promoted this as a safe powder to use, that there's nothing wrong with it. And they've known since the 80s, at least since the 1980s, the harmful effects of talcum powder and what it can do, that it actually is a known carcinogen.
But Johnson & Johnson talcum powder and baby powders have been around for a lot longer than the 1980s.
I know, but they've known since the 80s that it in fact has, that there are health risks involved with using it on a regular basis, which would tell me that if you could get cancer from using it daily, for 30 years, I wouldn't want to use it at all.
Of course not.
If you're going to use, and that's just crazy that they, to think that they won. Of course, Johnson & Johnson, took the stance. Well, we still believe our product is safe. Everyone thinks their product is safe until it kills enough people, and even then, they still think it's safe even when it's being taken off the market. But the talcum powder you should never put on your body, even though people use it on their babies and they use it for, like you said, the shower to shower or whatever, the product's called. But if you're going to buy any products like that, it should be made from cornstarch. It's actually a better, you can get a very finely ground cornstarch, works much better.
So what is the deal with is it just the fragrance, or does it smooth out your skin, make you feel dry? What's the?
Well, they put stuff in there to make it smell nice, but it's what it is. It absorbs moisture, and that's the nice thing about it is you put it on and you don't get that wet sticky feeling. That's why people do it after the showers. Or, I used to use this deodorant. It was. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it. I used it years ago, and you can either get it where it was like I don't know if you've ever heard of deodorant crystals, but it's basically a mineral that counteracts. It's like a sodium mineral crystal that literally you just kind of run it under the water and then rub it on your armpit. And it sounds like some new agey weird thing because it's a crystal, but it's actually just these minerals. It's literally just a rock, but it dissolves a little bit when you get it wet. And then you rub it on your armpits and it counteracts the bacteria from when you sweat. And so
it gets rid of the odor.
It gets rid of the odor. Well, they also used to take it and they would grind it up into a fine powder, and then they would mix it with cornstarch, and you can use it in, like just like this, like baby powder or shower to shower. And I used to use that, and I loved that one because I would put that in my. It was messy, you get all over the place, all over the counter. There's no really easy way to apply this stuff. You get powder everywhere, but I didn't care. But the stuff felt great to use it. It was especially in the summertime when you're hot. You put it on and it feels very refreshing, and that's why I like the feel of it. But I used it. The stuff I used was made from organic cornstarch instead of from talc.
I've always used a towel.
Oh, the towel works too. I think the powder comes after the towel.
Oh! I'm saying the Pills. I'm picturing the Pillsbury Doughboy.
I've got dough paste all over my body. No. So, but so that's the whole purpose of using this stuff, and of course that's why she used it. And but to think, and I think that's the thing that when I talk to people about changing lifestyles and this and that is little things that you would think would never interfere with your life. Well, especially if you use them on a daily basis, they can. And in fact, this woman died of cancer because of using baby powder. Like, who would think baby powder could kill you?
But doesn't it bug you that it seems like things that we've done forever and ever and ever all of a sudden are not good for you anymore?
Yeah, well, I think that they were never good for us. Some of these things, but and some things have changed too. We've gotten like just take like a Coke, for instance. Coca-Cola. When it probably was no different from when you were a kid to when I was a kid, but when by the time my son was born, the whole formula had changed. It used to just be sugar and there was some food coloring, but now it's got high fructose corn syrup in it, and they've changed it. It tastes about the same. And of course now we're putting it in a plastic bottle instead of a glass bottle, and so you're getting some of the contaminants from the plastic. You're getting the phthalates and little you're getting trace amounts of plastic every time you drink out of a plastic bottle, and so the things that we used to do, we still do them, but they've changed just slightly. Things like foods that used to be made with lard now are made with hydrogenated oils. Or there's a brominated vegetable oil. Is a thing like they use that in a lot of these energy drinks, like I know the orange Gatorade has brominated vegetable oil. There's things that didn't. I don't know if they didn't exist. I don't even think they did exist. 40 years ago, but they certainly weren't in our food sources, in our drinks and the things that we ate. And what we're getting is all these substitutions for everything from sugar to different kinds of oils or whatever. And these substitutes are cheap and they're easy to make, but they have a lot of health effects that are negative. And so those are the things. So it's not that. How come all of a sudden that what we did 40 years ago now is not good for you? It's not that it's because it's not the same. Things have been tweaked. They've changed just slightly, a little bit more over time. And so now we've got, stuff that we're putting in our body that's really not what it was 40, 50 years ago. And that's, so I don't know if the Johnson & Johnson, shower to shower baby powder, I don't know if it's the same. I've never used it.
They may have changed it. They may have changed the formula. Hey, do you remember on Tuesday we were talking about the smoking age, and we were talking about it being San Francisco? Well, guess what? This came in 45 minutes ago. There's a bill that would make California the second state with a smoking age of 21 years of age.
Right after Hawaii, right?
Yep. Lawmakers today revived a stalled effort to make the nation's most populous state one of two to raise the smoking age to 21. And you're right. The other one was Hawaii. And they're talking about sending that to Jerry Brown for his signature next week.
Wow, that's interesting. And I'm with you on it. I don't see the necessity of it. I don't really see how it's going to benefit, but obviously the legal age of purchasing, or does it actually say that you have to be 21 to smoke also?
Let me check on. You keep talking. Let me check on this. It says here, stalled effort.
First you tell me to take a breath.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hold your breath. The state assembly passed a bill raising the smoking age from 18, joining Hawaii and dozens of cities around the country that have already moved to a higher limit. So they're saying it's illegal to smoke them.
Wow. I wonder if that'll be it, because like I said Tuesday, I've never seen a cop ever enforce smoking on a teenager that was under 18 years old. I wonder if they're going to start enforcing this.
I think it's ridiculous. Hey, you know what? Let's not talk about the stupid legislature in California, which they are. They're almost as stupid as the legislature in Washington D.C. Have you seen the fact that they're going to lift the ban on killing grizzly bears now? They're not going to bother them in Yellowstone Park, but if they're on the perimeter of it, it's going to be legal to hunt grizzly bears now.
I really don't see the benefit of hunting a grizzly bear.
I doubt that anybody's going to eat it.
Grizzly bear, right?
Yeah, I doubt that anybody's going to eat that doggone thing, because bear meat is not very good.
That's what I've actually talked to people who said they've eaten it, and I've never talked to anyone who said it was good.
Yeah.
It's something about carnivores. They're just the meat from carnivores typically doesn't taste very good. But I think the only reason hunting grizzly bear is for sport. I'm not an animal rights activist or anything like that, but I just think that if you're going to hunt something for sport, I think it's wrong.
Yeah, if you're going to hunt for sport, it ought to be a paper target.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go shoot clay pigeons.
Here's something right in your bailiwick. Here's something that you're going to be able to grab hold of from the CDC. This came in today. Superbugs cause 1 in 7 infections caught in hospitals.
Oh, Absolutely.
MRSA.
Oh, yeah.
MRSA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've known about that one for years. Yeah, I hate going to hospitals just for that reason. It's, in fact, I remember reading an article, and it was just horrible. Woman in Florida, this was probably 12, 14 years ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Woman in Florida went to the hospital to give birth, because, that's what we're told we're supposed to do. And, she came down, and I don't know if it was MRSA, but it was a bug like that. And to save her life, they had to cut off both of her legs and both of her arms in order to save her life.
Oh.
And of course, as I was reading this article, there was a group of us, and one of the gals, she goes, "Oh my gosh, she'll never be able to hold her baby."
I'm not sure that I'd want to survive that.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that.
Well, your quality of life is gone, and like this friend of mine said, she's never going to be able to hold her baby. The only reason this happened to her was because she was told that the best thing to do to give birth is to go to the hospital, and there is, in my opinion, birthing centers, if you're going to have them, they should be set apart, a completely different building from the hospital where the sick people are. I think that anyone who goes into a hospital, and I've said this for a long time, I remember when Victor was just a baby, and we were having lunch or dinner and talking to our waitress, and she was pregnant, and I don't know how the conversation brought up about her going to the hospital, and I said, "Oh, are you having complications?" And she says, "No." I said, "You're healthy?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, is the baby healthy too?" And she said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Well, then why are you going to the hospital?" Yeah. And she kind of looked at me like dumbfounded, like one, she really didn't know how to answer, but two, like I was a moron for even asking that question. But you're going to take two healthy people and put them in a building full of sick people and hope for the best.
Yeah.
I am so strongly against going to the hospital for a healthy childbirth. It should be, if you're going to do it in a birthing center, make sure it's separate. And I think that if everybody's healthy and everything's going well, that doing it at home is the best option. Get a midwife. That's what we did with Victor. It was the coolest thing I've ever experienced, hands down, in my whole life.
Well, yeah, easy for you.
So, yeah, it was easy for me. I got to catch him. I was like right there.
All right. So listen, we actually have to say goodbye to each other and to Sally.
I hate that part.
Yeah, you know what? You're really on a roll. You know what? When are we? You know what? I think we ought to forget about trying to program something to talk about and just do this every time.
I agree. Well, I'll have something to talk about next week. Next Tuesday. I'll still have those tabs open up on my computer. There's a couple of cool little articles. Matter of fact, you know what, we can, because I just saw it just before I walked out the door. I almost brought it up, but I don't know enough about it yet. Next week, I want to talk about Donald Trump's healthcare plan that he just laid out, and I liked it.
I think that would be, I think that'd be terrific, because I don't know anything about it either. I'll look at it too.
Sounds great.
All right.
Well,
hey, my friend.
I had a fun time.
Hey, I did too. You have a great evening, and Sally, you have a great time too. And, and basically, make everybody's life better because you're in it. I know that's what the case is going to be. Stay safe, stay happy, and we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Thanks, Robert.
All righty. And the rest of you folks, stay tuned because we're going to come back with the happy birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll talk all about those things right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. Boy, if you've missed the last hour with Sean LaFave, wow, you really missed something. So go to our archives and pick it up and listen to it. You can do that easy. Just get our app. You don't go, if you have an Apple product, just go to the Apple Store, search Robert Cardoza Live, and it's right there. It's absolutely free. Download it on your Apple device, whether it be your iPhone or your iPad or whatever it might be. And if you got a Windows product or an Android product, just go to googleplay.com. Again, search Robert Cardoza Live, and it's right there for you. And it's absolutely free. If we're broadcasting live like we are now, there'll be a little flag there that says live. It's right there, and you can listen to us. You can even chat with us while we're doing it live. Or if you would like to listen to us anytime, all of our archive shows are right there. And there's a little information tag there that'll tell you what each show is all about. Generally, we have the same segments, but different subjects every day. And you know what? And if you miss Sean's with us every Tuesday and Thursday. What a guy, knowledgeable guy. But right now, we're going to talk about the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is 3 ways to really motivate your employees. Companies turn to material perks, bonuses, game rooms, free food, that kind of stuff, in the hopes of making employees happier. But research suggests that these efforts, while appreciated, are not effective drivers of long-term well-being. Instead, leaders should be mindful about giving their employees 3 things. The first is inspiration. Remind employees how their work is improving people's lives. Distributing client or customer testimonials and announcing when corporate profits are donated to charities are just a couple of examples of how to do this. And how about kindness? Show that you care about your staff as people, not just employees. Simply ask how someone is doing personally, and really listening to their answer is a really good first step. And here's the third thing, self-care. Create a culture in which it is acceptable and encouraged to exercise. Take breaks from work and have more strict boundaries between work and home. Finding ways to reduce job stress ultimately increases well-being and engagement. So keep that in mind, when you're moving on. you'll be glad that you did those kind of things. I can guarantee you that. Well, it's time for that secret daily teaching for your life. You know, this is all about a positive mental attitude. I'm absolutely convinced that you control everything that's going on in your life. You decide whether you're going to be happy or sad, whether you're going to be rich or poor, successful or a failure. You decide all of those things. And the truth is, you also decide that the people around you are going to be happy and content. It's all about a positive mental attitude. So our secret for today is you create your life through your thoughts and the law of attraction, and every single person does the same thing. It doesn't just work if you know about it. It has to always have been working in your life and every other person's life throughout history. When you become aware of this great law, then you become aware of how incredibly powerful you are to be able to think your life into existence. I'm telling you. It's amazing how that works and how wonderful it really is. Well, you know what today is. Sure, we both know. It's Thursday and it's March the 3rd and it's somebody's birthday. And we've got some great birthdays for today. This person was born in 1959, public radio personality and host and producer of the radio and television show This American Life. Happy birthday, Ira Glass. And here's somebody that everybody knows, was born in 1962, college football at the University of Georgia, where he was awarded the Heisman 1982 trophy, inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1999. Happy birthday, Herschel Walker. Yeah. And born in 1982, an actress and former model who has appeared in several Hollywood films. Happy birthday, Jessica Biel. Happy birthday, Jessica. Well, what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you, on March 3rd, 1931, the United States officially adopts the Star-Spangled Banner as its national anthem. See, you thought it was forever, but 1931, not that long ago, if you think about it, about 75 years, right? How about this? 1938, oil is discovered in Saudi Arabia. And in 1991, an amateur video captures the beating of Rodney King by Los Angeles police officers. Wow. And that's when the Watts riot started. And in 2005, Steve Fawcett becomes the first person to fly an airplane around the world solo without any stops, without refueling. Wow. Can you imagine? Well, the quote for today comes from E.L. Koningsberg, and he says, "Happiness is excitement that has found a settling down place, but there is always a little corner that keeps flapping around." Yeah. Just a little bitty corner, right? Well, it's time for those interesting but useless facts, and we've got a number of them, so let's see if we can't keep you entertained for a couple, 2-3 minutes with them. You know, before 1800, only 2 women achieved fame as artists. Both were painters. One was Italian named Rosalba Carrera. She was born in 1675 and died in 1757, who popularized the use of pastels in Paris and other. The other one was Marie Anne Elizabeth Vigée Lebrun, born in 1755 and died in 1842, was a French portraitist who gained fame for her paintings of European royalty. Yeah, well, I guess she was famous then anyhow. I'm not sure about now. Did you know that gold is perfect for use in coins and jewelry, as it does not react with air or water like many other minerals? Yeah. And did you know that in the year 2000, Pope John Paul II was named an honorary Harlem Globetrotter? I wonder if he was any good at basketball. Well, how about this? Anne Boleyn had 6 fingernails on one hand. I don't even want to get there. Did you know that you're born with 300 bones, but when you get to be an adult, you only have 206? 94 bones gone. I wonder what the heck that's all about. I guess somebody will tell us. How about this? Did you know that mosquitoes can get viruses from you? If you have malaria and got bitten by a mosquito, then that mosquito now has malaria too. Wow. Give that a break. How about this? Columbus brought cacao, chocolate, beans back to Spain on his fourth voyage in 1502. There's an interesting thing for you if you think about it. And, let's see here. How about this? Your head creates inner noises. It's rare, but exploding head syndrome does exist. Well, I hope that's even rarer. Let me leave you with this. It was the left shoe that Aschenputtel, Cinderella, lost at the stairway when the prince tried to follow her. The left shoe. I'll give you one more. As men and women get older, their ability to hear high-pitched sounds diminishes. The ability to taste sweet foods also decreases with age. And with that, we're going to take a short break. When I come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one's from Caden Insanius from Chandler, Arizona, asking about business startup losses. And I'll answer those questions for you right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 72 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's on its way down to 48 degrees, so it's going to be pleasant. It's going to be nice. We're expecting 20% chance of rain tomorrow and 100% the day after, so we'll see. Well, actually, it's a 20% chance, I think, as on Saturday, 100% chance on Sunday. Tomorrow should be still nice and clear. Well, we're down to the wire. Time for me to answer your emails. The first email that we've got comes from Caden Encinias from Chandler, Arizona, asking about business startup losses, and writes, I did freelance work for a startup business that used the cash method of accounting. Then it failed without paying me. Can I deduct my loss? Well, Caden, no, you can't. Even if there is a contract providing for payment, if the business didn't pay you anything, you simply don't report any income from it. You don't get any deduction for a financial loss because you don't really have a financial loss. You may consider yourself to have lost the value of the time and effort that you put into your work, but the value of your time and effort isn't deductible. The IRS doesn't think that's worth anything. So sorry about that, Caden. Next email comes from Bilson Hayford from Milford, Connecticut, asking about mortgage deductions, and says, last year I started building a new home to move into. When home prices started falling, I stopped construction to wait to see what happens in the market. Now, I'm still living in my old home. Can I claim a mortgage interest deduction for the interest on the loan I used to start building the new home? Great question, Bilson. When you started building the new home, you can deduct interest paid on related financing as mortgage interest for a period of up to 24 months, provided the home becomes your main or second home at the time that it's actually ready for occupancy. You're still within that 24-month window, so the interest that you're incurring will qualify as mortgage interest. Now, you can deduct mortgage interest on two homes. Keep that in mind. Now, for more details about the rules, go to IRS Publication 936. That's Home Mortgage Interest Deductions. And that'll answer your questions for you. Well, next email comes from Sophia Orozco-Daris from Hillsboro, Oregon, asking about minimum distributions, and writes, I'm retired with savings in a 401k account, 3 IRAs, and a simplified employee pension. That's a SEP plan, SEP. Now, starting at age 70 and a half, annual required minimum distribution rules apply to all of them. Can I take my total required annual distribution from any one of them, or must I take an annual distribution from each of them? That's a great question, Sophia. The annual required minimum distribution is computed separately for the 401k, but for the IRAs and the SEP, it is computed on a combined basis. So you're going to receive an annual distribution from the 401k in accordance with the plans from those terms, and you're going to determine your required annual distribution from the IRAs and the SEP on the basis of their combined balance, and can either take the entire amount from any one of them or divide it among them any way that you choose. So hopefully that answers your question. But there's 2 different requirements that are going on there. And my last email comes from Melanie Parkinson from Marietta, Georgia, asking about hobby expenses. And she says, I'm developing photography as a serious hobby and have received offers to buy my pictures. If I use the money I receive from sales to buy photography equipment and for other expenses of taking pictures, can I claim a tax deduction for these costs? Well, Melanie, hobby expenses are deductible in an amount up to the amount or income received from a hobby, and so can shelter that income from tax. But there are many limitations. Hobby expenses are claimed as an itemized deduction on Schedule A of the tax return among your miscellaneous expenses, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that it exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income, or AGI. So if you don't file a return that itemizes deductions, and only about 20-25% of the nation actually does that, you'll get no deduction at all. And if you do, your deduction may be limited by that 2% of AGI floor that's required. By the way, there are many other rules that also apply, so check with your tax advisor before you do that. We always recommend that you check with a licensed professional before you do these things. These, We try to answer your questions as comprehensively as possible, but sometimes the information is a little sketchy, so we tell you to get to a licensed professional. They're generally going to save you more money than they cost you, and they have to have, as a condition of their licensing, errors and omissions insurance. Same thing as malpractice insurance, but it does mean that if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. That gives you peace of mind. It lets you sleep at night. You don't have to worry about registered letters or phone calls or somebody showing up at your door or tapping you on the shoulder. So that's really where you want to be. Now, on my next show, John Matthews and Joe Hakos are going to join me on our twice-a-week simulcast, The Conservative Syndicate, and I'm sure we've got plenty to talk about. David Garrett also is going to be here and presenting his Garrett on the Law Corner. So please tell all your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.